All right, so once again, warm-up number 108 reads as follows. Number 1, graph the circle. They give us x squared plus y squared minus 2y minus 4x minus 4 equals 0. Number 2, it says simplify, use long division. They give us 3x minus 7 over x minus 2. Number 3, simplify, log 100. And number 4, compute the missing length of the right triangle. Then identify cosine angle B. You're like, oh snap, that's a lot of stuff. I know, right? It's gold. So number 1, by now we should know how to find the center and radius of number 1. So, center. What'd you get for the center, Moose? 2, 1. Hands, have you got that? That is correct. And how about the radius? 1. Close. Help them out, Hector. 3. That is correct. This one, we don't subtract, we add to bring it to the other side. Yeah, so be careful with that. You need to do the inverse. So to graph this, we have 2, 1, 1, 2, and 1, which is right there. And then 3 steps in all direction. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And there you go. Number 2, long division. I'm going to go over this one just to alleviate some of the anxiety. 3x minus 7 divided by x minus 2. The numerator always goes inside as the dividend. So, what number times x gives us 3x? 3. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. This is the step that some of you skip. Some of you at this point, you just subtract this and all of a sudden you combine this. No, remember, write the subtraction sign, then distribute, distribute. Don't skip that step. That means this cancels. We're left with negative 1, and that's my remainder. So, remainder. So how do we write this? Our answer is 3. I'm going to write 3. And then we have a fraction plus a fraction of negative 1 over x minus 2. Now, since 3 is a constant, this one goes at the end. Is that correct? So this is negative 1 over x minus 2 plus 3. But can we have a negative on the numerator? No, only a 1. So that means we're going to bring the negative to the front. So this one is negative 1 over x minus 2, and at the end, the constant of 3. And that's how you simplify that. And hopefully you're like, oh, this looks kind of like the one on the study guide, right? You guys did the study guide over the weekend? Okay, good. All right, number 3, log 100. Play neighbor, when it doesn't have a base here, what is that base of that log? So then we rewrite this as log 10, and then the 100, I'm going to rewrite it in base 10. How do we write 100 in base 10? 10 to the second. So now this is the same as this, so this whole thing is 2. And have you got that? Okay, good. So you're like, oh, I remember these, Mr. Q. I know, right? Piece of cake? Anyways, here we go. This one, first we need to figure out what x is. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 8 squared plus 6 squared equals x squared. 64 plus 36 equals x squared. 100, is that correct? Yeah. Equals x squared. Square root. 10 equals x. So this is 10. And yes, it's units. However, they want us to compute the cosine of angle B. So I need to identify my angle first. Here's my angle. And cosine, we know it's not opposite over hypotenuse, is adjacent. over hypotenuse. So which one's next to this angle? 8 over the hypotenuse, which is 10. So cosine angle B is 8 over 10, which is 4/5. Yes? Or 0.8. Hands, have you got that by yourself? Some of you? Okay, good. All right, let's move on. Agenda for today. Warm-up number 108, Semester 2, Concepts and Skills, Study, Cumulative Study Guide. Now, once again, just to reiterate, and for so that it can stay recorded on YouTube, and just in case your parents go to YouTube to watch some of the videos, I did give you the study guide for the final exam 1 month in advance. Does everybody agree with that? Okay, just double checking. Yeah, 1 month in advance. 1 month in advance. Study guide of exactly what's going to be in the final. 1 month in advance. Turn over what I just said. Oh, my people, my people. Anyway, so please study the study guide. I mean, divvy it up. Since it's only 34 problems, do maybe 8 a day or something like that, 6 a day for 7 days or something like that. Okay? All right. So with that said, get a blank sheet of paper out. We're going to go ahead and get started with a full review of the study guide. We're going to go over the study guide. We're probably going to get maybe to problem number 8 or if possible 10 today. So before we go on spring break, hopefully we finish the entire study guide and I have it on video for you guys to make it a family math night or something on spring break, yeah? All right, so once again, previous home play was to study, and tonight to study. All right. Our objective for today, I can master all semester 2 concepts and skills. I can master all semester 2 concepts and skills. Now, for those of you that have been struggling with the warm-up, specifically with problem number 1, which is the circle, I'm going to go over that tic-tac-toe, step by step, and we'll go from there, because that's going to take us to problems number 1 and 2 from the study guide of your final. So with that said, on your blank sheet of paper, first thing you're going to write is circle. So let's see. Before I write it, what was the standard form equation of a circle? Talk it over to your neighbor. What is the standard form equation of a circle? All right, it looks like we got it. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Pretty close, yeah? All right. And once again, we're going to bring this one and this one in red, and we know that those make up the center. H and K is our center. And throughout the year, we were using those two, but as a vertex. You guys remember that? When we got to that, I said it's kind of like the same thing as a vertex. And of course, to get the radius, we need to take this one and do square root of whatever's there. What's there right now? R squared. So this cancels that. That leaves us with R. So basically, we need to take a square root of whatever's there for R squared. Whatever is here, we take square root of. Okay? So, with that said, example 1Q. Center -2, 4, radius 3. Write me a standard form equation using that center and using that radius. All right, share with your neighbor, see what they wrote. Standard form equation of the circle using the center and the radius. All right, let's see. Andres, go. X what? Close. Remember, the minus is already part of the form, and this is a -2. +2, yes. And then y? Damn, good elaboration. If the radius is 3, what goes over here? 9. Hands if you got that. That is correct. Okay. Let's do one more. Example 1 super cube. Center 1, 5. Radius 10. All right. Tell your neighbor what you got for that. Have someone, Andres? Maya. X minus 1 squared. Y minus 5 squared equals? Okay, so the radius is 10, so what goes here? On this one, the radius was 3 and it became 9. 100. Hands if you got that. Okay. And the last one, example omega cube. Center, -2, -3. Radius, 1. All right, tell your neighbor the standard form equation that you got for that. Okay, good conversations. Maya, pass someone. Pedro, go. X plus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 1. Hands if you got that. Okay. All right, let's go to example 2Q. And I'm going to write for instructions, identify the center and radius. Here we go. X squared plus y squared minus 8x plus, give me a number, 4y, another number, plus 16 equals 0. All right, let's do this one together. So, when identifying the center and the radius, we need this in a standard form like this one that we wrote over here. Is that correct? That means we need a x in factored form and a y in factored form, which we don't have here. That means we're going to use completing the square. So, question, is there a leading coefficient other than 1? No. So we eliminate the constant, minus 16, minus 16. Then I said combine all the common variables. We have x squared minus 8x and leave an empty space, plus we got y squared and 4y, y squared plus 4y, leave an empty space, and all that equal to negative 16. From there, we complete the square. Tell your neighbor what goes here and what goes there. Good conversations. Plus negative 8 over 2 squared, and whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. Negative 8 over 2 squared. How about here? 4 over 2 squared, and what do we do to one side? We do to the other side. 4 over 2 squared. All right, so let's simplify. This is x squared minus 8x plus 16, because negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16, plus y squared plus 4y, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4, and this is negative 16 plus 16 plus, what is it? 4. Okay. The next step, to go a little bit faster, I'm going to do two things. Simplify the right side and factor the left side. So can we simplify the right side? Yes, a 0 pairs right there. That leaves us with 4. How do we factor this? Well, since we completed the square, now we find a factored square. How do we do that? Square root of the first, square root of the last term, sign of the middle, and write that squared. Plus, because there's a plus. Next, square root of the first term, y, square root of the last term, 2, sign of the middle, squared, and that's our standard form. So now that we have it in standard form, now we can find the center and the radius. Talk it over your neighbor, let them know the center and how to get the radius of that standard form equation. All right, Pedro, pass someone. Megan, center. 4, negative 2, and the radius? 2, that is correct. 4, straight from here, because it's a negative, so it's just 4. This is a positive 2, but this is supposed to be a negative, so why we wrote negative. And take the square root of this number, and that's 2. All right? So that's pretty much the circle. Okay? So with that said, let me go to the study guide, which I'm pretty sure you already completed. However, there's problem number 1 on the study guide, and it reads, write the standard equation of the circle with center negative 3, negative 4, and radius 6. Okay, so on your paper, write problem number 1, and then write your center negative 3, negative 4, and the radius 6, and write your standard equation. Write problem number 1, and then just write center negative 3, negative 4, and radius 6. Since you have the study guide, you can just match the notes to your study guide. All right? So with that said, talk it over with your neighbor, let them know what would be the answer for that one. Megan, pass someone. Hands if you got C. That is correct. So our standard form is x minus h squared, y minus k squared equals r squared. So h and k is these, h and k. So if we substitute those in here, and the radius is 6, so that means this becomes x, negative times the negative is a positive 3 squared, plus y plus 4 squared, and 6 squared is 36. Answer C. Does everybody see what we're doing? Let's go to number 2. Write this down, please. And yes, write the instructions. Find the center and radius of x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 10y plus 10 equal to 0. I'll give you some time for that. Copy that and... All right, check with the neighbors, see what they got. They should be done by now. And once again, reminder, and it's being recorded, this is 2.5 letter grades of your final grade. Everybody understands that, right? Okay. All right. So, who went last? Andrew, pass him one. Shane, answer. D. Hands if you got D. That is correct. Let's find out. So, we get rid of the constant minus 10 minus 10. That gives us x squared plus 2x, leave an empty space, plus, x squared plus 2x, leave an empty space, and then we got y squared minus 10y, leave an empty space, and all that equal to negative 10. Okay, next, how do we complete the square here? We do 2 over 2 squared, and here negative 10 over 2 squared, and we do that to both sides. So on this side we have negative 10, 2 over 2 squared, and negative 10 over 2 squared. So we're left with x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus y squared minus 10y plus 25. Is that correct? So I'm going to simplify this side. We have negative 10 plus 1 plus 25. So this is 15, this is 16, yes? Yes, Mr. Q. All right, square root of the first, square root of the last, sign of the middle, squared, plus square root of the first, square root of the last, sign of the middle, squared. All right, so according to our standard form, it should look like this. Is that correct? Yeah, but this one's a positive. That means my center starts with what? Negative 1. My K does remain a 5, and the radius, how do we get that? Take the square root of 16, which is 4. The correct answer is D. Woo! We finished number 1 and 2. Let's go. All right. So with that said, back to our notes. Let's go to next concept. We're going to write parabolas. Parabolas. Yes. Oh, yes. Parabolas. We have two kinds, vertical and horizontal. Vertical and horizontal. Vertical is the one that open upward, like this, or downward. I'm going to start with upward. But in order to get a parabola, we need a curve and we need a straight line down here. Because according to the definition, we need a focus. I'm going to put F for focus. Here, V for vertex. And here, D for what? Directrix. And what do we know about all these 3 points, guys? They are what? What is the word? Equidistant. That means that they are the same distance. All right. So that's vertical. So what does horizontal look like? Like this. And of course it has the same components. Directrix point, the vertex, and the focus. Now what's the difference between this kind and this kind? That this kind, this straight line, goes like this, that means that the directrix always has a y value. Y equals to a certain number. For this kind, the directrix has an x value. X equal to a certain value. Okay? So what does this equation look like for this one? For this one, it's x squared equals 4py. You guys remember these? Yes? You're like, oh yes, these are a favorite. So if for the vertical it starts with x squared, what does this one start with? Y squared equals 4px. That is correct. Yes, sir? The directrix? So if I have, good question, if I have a coordinate plane like so, and I want to sketch a line that looks like this, let's say it goes through here, what value am I looking at here for this axis? Moose? The y-axis. That's why this value is going to be a y value. You see what I'm saying? Whereas this one, if it goes straight up and down, it's going to go through an x value. Okay? We good? All right. So with that said, here goes. Example 2. Let's label this example 2Q. Write an equation for the parabola with f at 0, 6 and directrix at y equals -6. Let's see. Talk to your neighbor, let them know how did you write your equation given that information. Let's see if they remember. How did you write your equation given that information? Very good. I heard everybody say, well, you look at the directrix, and since it's a y, I write 4py. That directrix is going to tell us what variable next to 4p. So 4py. If this was a x equals to something, this will be what? 4px. So that means that the other side of the equation, it should be what? X squared. All right. So with that said, now that we have our equation, we just rewrite it. So we get x squared equals 4 times p times y. Now, check this out. P, I said use the focus value. What is the focus value at this point? 6. Why 6? Because that's the distance from the vertex to the focus and the same distance from the vertex to the directrix. 6 steps. There it is. So my equation is x squared equals 24y. Now, on the study guide, those of you that, I don't know if you noticed, they didn't give you an equation that looked like that. They gave you an equation that said either x equals or y equals. So how can I solve for y here? Tell your neighbor. What do I do to solve for y? Very good. Divide by 24, divide by 24. My goodness. So we end up with x squared over 24 equals y, or another way of writing that, what's the coefficient of x squared? It's a 1. So we can write this as 1 over 24 times x squared equals y. Example 2 super cube. Same instructions, don't need to write them, but let me give you the focus. Focus, -3, 0, and directrix x equals 3. So you neighbor, first the equation you're going to use. What equation are you going to use? All right, so what equation, Pedro? Y squared equals 4px. Yes, because that's what they give us here for the directrix. All right, and y squared equals 4 times what times x? What goes here for the p, everyone? -3. So therefore this is y squared minus 12 times x. Let's solve for x. What do I do? Divide by -12, divide by -12. So how do I write this? -112 times, am I going too fast? Y squared equals to x. There it is. Yes? Say it again? I don't understand. Oh, it doesn't matter. Like, since it's a fraction, you can put it on top, on the side, or on the bottom. So, yeah. All right. So let's go to the study guide and see what that looks like. Let's go to problem number 2. No, number 3. Sorry. Look at this one. It says, write an equation in standard form for the parabola with focus 0, 4, and directrix y equals -4. So for this one is problem number 3, write 3. You don't need the instructions since you already have them, but write focus 0, 4, and directrix y equals -4. I'll give you some time for that. Copy and go. All right, check with the neighbors, see what they got so far. They should be done by now. All right. Who went last? Pedro? Pass someone? Isaiah, what'd you get? Answer? C. Hands if you got that. That is correct. Once again, you look at the directrix, this is y, so you should have written 4py equals to x squared. So then you got x squared equals 4 times p times y. And p, we said we were going to use the value on the focus, which is 4. 16y equals x squared. Since there's nothing that looks like that, we need to solve for y. So we do divide by 16, divide by 16. So we end up with 1/16 x squared equals y. Answer is C. Does everybody see what we're doing? Let's go to the next one. Here we go. Number 4. For number 4, once again, the instructions are the same, but look what they give us this time. Vertex and directrix. Write that down. We're going to go over this one together just to make sure we understand what we're looking at. So to get started, look at the directrix. Tell your neighbor what equation you're going to write according to that directrix. Yeah, x squared equals 4py. Is that correct? Then we got x squared equals 4 times something times y. Where do we get that something from? Tell your neighbor. The focus. That is correct. But we don't have a focus. We have a what? But we know that the focus is equidistant. Yes? Just as this. So tell your neighbor what would be the value for the focus. Zero, 6. Hands if you got 0, 6. Yeah, because the vertex is the same distance from the directrix and the vertex from the focus. Yes? And if you don't see it, here's my parabola. Here's the focus. Here's the vertex. Here's the directrix. These are equidistant. So if this one is at y negative 6, which is here, this is at 0, 0. So what would be this one? 6. And it has to be the y value, yes? So that goes here. So therefore, x squared equals 24y. What do I do next? Divide by 24. So 1 over 24 x squared equals y. Answer? A. We good? All right. Let's go to the next one. From 1 to 5, I'll come to you with parabolas. We good, yeah? Is it coming back, some of you? Yeah? You're like, yeah, Mr. Q, I studied very meticulously over the weekend. Okay, good. All right, let's go to systems, right? Systems. Yes, let's go. Systems. Yes, systems of equations. So these are notes first, and then I'll give you the problem from the study guide. Let's start with y equals x plus 1 and y equals x squared plus 4x plus 3. Now, in the study guide, they might not give you in that setup. They would say solve. They're probably going to say solve the system, and then they give you y equals x plus 1 and y equals x squared plus 4x plus 3, just to save space. But you see that it's the same thing. Is that correct? So, in this case, since they're not asking us which method to use, I'm going to use probably the simplest method, which is substitution. Why substitution, Mr. Q? Because they're both already solved for what variable? So this one says y equals what? X plus 1. So here, instead of writing y, what am I going to write? So I write x plus 1 equals x squared plus 4x plus 3. So what do we have now? We have a quadratic equation. To solve a quadratic equation, it needs to be equal to what, everyone? To 0. So we need to leave this side equal to 0. So what do? Minus x and minus 1 to both sides. Minus x minus 1. Hey, your muscle memory is kicking in. Let's go. 0 equals x squared plus 3x plus 2. Tell your neighbor what to do from there. Look at it. Muscle memory. Let's see. Yeah, factor. We got 2. We got 3. What factors of 2 add up to 3? 2 and 1. Can we use a shortcut to write our factors? Yes. X plus 2, x plus 1, and all that equal to 0. Next. What do we do next to continue solving? Set them equal to 0. So we got x plus 2 equal to 0, x plus 1 equal to 0, and let's solve. Minus 2 minus 2, x equals negative 2, minus 1, x equals negative 1. Now, if we were solving a quadratic equation by itself, we would be done. But we're solving a what? A system. That means we have our x value here. Now we need a what? A y value. And this, when we have an x value, we still need a what? Y value. Okay, so question. Where do we get our y value from? Tell your neighbor. Yeah, substitute. Which equation do we want to use, the first or the second? So we bring down the first one. We write it twice. We write y equals x plus 1, y equals x plus 1. My first value that I'm substitute in there is -2, which is right there. So I get y equals -2 plus 1. So y equals -1. That goes right here. Oh, -1. The second value is -1. That goes right there. So y equals -1 plus 1. So y equals what? 0. All right, so these are my what? My solutions. Okay, this is a system. Tell your neighbor what these 2 points mean according to those 2 equations. Talk it over to your neighbor. What does that mean? If you forgot, write a note, hashtag or asterisk, where both graphs, what? Intersect. That is correct. Since this is a parabola, and this is a linear function, that means that it's going to intercept something like that. And how many spots? 2 spots. Right there and right there. From 1 to 5? Is it coming back? Yes? So with that, look at the study guide. Let me go to the study guide. We're not going to do it here. That's for you to do at home. However, let me go to the study guide. Problem number 5. Look at number 5. Solve a system formed by this equation. There it is. It's pretty much the same method. And look at number 6. Oh, that's in 3D. So if you already did that, that's fine. We're going to get to that tomorrow. So tonight, guys, your attention for tonight. I want you to once again revisit numbers 1 through 5. You're like, we already did them, Mr. Q. I understand. Do them again. Muscle memory. Yes? All right. I'm going to stop the video right there. Enjoy your home play. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.